Hey everyone, Saintsfan here, and in today's GTA 5 video, I want to talk to you guys about a really amazing concept for Halloween, and I'm going to convert that into just a really amazing concept for GTA Online. Now, if you're one of those people that say, this is never going to happen, why are you wasting your time making a video, then click off the video, it's not for you. There's been a number of things that I and other people have made videos on in the past, and Rockstar has added them into the game. So I'm hoping that maybe with this video, something like this will be added. Now, if any of the stuff that I mentioned in this video does sound interesting, it'd be awesome if you could drop the video a like, because the more people that see it, the better the chance that Rockstar sees it and are willing to add it into the game. In the past, at least for Halloween concepts, I talked about Rockstar doing some sort of purge event for a day, just like how they do the snow for a day or two during Christmas. And Reddit user BWit actually came up with a really amazing detailed concept of that purge idea. Now, since Halloween is coming out in a few weeks, this is not going to happen for this Halloween. But honestly, this is something that I feel could happen regardless of Halloween. This could be some sort of special event that Rockstar does every single month. And I'm going to touch on that after I go through the entire concept. So, if any of this stuff interests you, let me know in the comments. The first thing, this purge idea occurs between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. game time, so it's only during the night, which makes sense, because that's how the movies go. During this time, all crime is legal. There's no wanted levels, no cops, no emergency vehicles, no insurance fees, no bad sport points. 90% of the NPCs would disappear because they're hiding or taking shelter, while the remaining 10% are all armed, masked, and hostile. Player blips would be disabled during this time, as well as the name above your character, and red ring on the NPC on the minimap would be disabled, so everyone blends in. And the session notifications above the map would be disabled for this time. All stores would be closed, and the only lighting would be from street lights. In his concept, he says all lights from the buildings would be turned off, but I don't know if they could actually do that, because if you do the blackout mode, it turns every single light off, but regardless, a blackout of some sort would be nice. And then he says the mechanic, Merryweather, and Lester services would be unavailable, and I like that. Now he says Pegasus vehicles would be at a 50% discount to spawn, but I would almost say it'd be better if there were no Pegasus vehicles, just because it would make everyone sort of on a more even playing field. Because if some dude got the insurgent with the gun, then they're just gonna kill everyone unless a group of people come together and blow the guy up, which we all know in GTA Online is highly unlikely. Another cool idea he had was that random occurrences happen often, so players would stumble upon some NPC scenes where NPCs would be throwing Molotov cocktails at cars and others, a group of NPCs beating one tied up NPC, a group of NPCs pouring gasoline on several tied up NPCs, firing squads, machete execution, looting of closed stores, NPCs operating tanks, armored cars, weaponized Karen technicals, and insurgents, sometimes in convoys. So just some random events to make the NPCs feel, or to make just the world feel more alive and a little bit crazier and more horrible and horrific, I guess. Now, one thing that I don't know if people would like this, because up until now, I think everything sounds amazing. But he says that if you die during the purge hours, during 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., you're forced to play into passive mode. Like, you have basically one life where you can go and do all this crazy stuff. And if you die, you go into passive mode until 7 a.m. when the purge is done. I don't like that, only because I know people, they would die within a minute, basically, and they would either leave or they wouldn't want to sit there for another 20 minutes in passive mode. I'm not sure how you could fix that, because having no passive mode where you just die and it doesn't really matter, I don't like that either. So if anyone could think of a middle ground between those two, that would be awesome. Now, when this purge event is done, because it would basically just be a 12-minute or 20-something minute, 12-hour in-game time long event, free mode event, and once it's done at 7 a.m., like during the day, you could have some really cool stuff that is purge related there. So things are mostly normal. People show up on the radar. You could call Lester, your mechanic, get your vehicles. The police would come after you now. All this stuff would be back to normal during the day. except there'd be some minor changes, such as ambulances and fire trucks would be more commonly seen rushing down the streets just because of all the craziness that maybe just happened. NPCs can now be found inside gun stores and carrying boxes of ammo and supplies. Armored vehicles would be seen driven around by NPCs, just little stuff like that during the day. I really like that concept. Some extra things that he mentions in his post, he says players in groups of 3 or more within a certain radius of each other, let's say about the size of a CEO proximity, for more than 30 seconds will become visible on the maps of other players, of the other individual players, so groups wouldn't really have an advantage over playing solo. He also says players would not be restricted to the city, but if they go at least a mile north of the city, they become visible on the radar. So you could be up north and doing your own thing, but you'll be at least on the radar so other people can see you. One really cool part, and I like this one a lot, if you're in your apartment, garage, clubhouse, office, just chilling out because you don't want to be a part of the purge, your blip will be visible to other players, and the only way that players can force you out of your apartment is if there's a group of 5 buzzing your building. And I kind of like that, so people don't just camp around, and if you work together as a group with random people, you could get people out of their apartments and then kill them, which I guess wouldn't really matter that much because then they could just go back into they would go into passive mode and go back into their apartment. But that's a really cool idea. And then going off the part that this would be just a giant free mode event, at the end of it, once 7 a.m. came around, the player who had the most kills would get the most amount of money. Maybe you get some bonus cash and RP for meleeing people or killing other people. And they could just work this as one big free mode event for that time period of 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So that's the idea. If that sounded interesting to you, I know when I read it, I was actually kind of impressed. And I really hope someday we get something like this. Now, the part I mentioned at the beginning of the video, how I think this could just be a great concept or idea for GTA Online in general and not just for a Halloween DLC. One of the things, especially now with Red Dead Redemption 2 being announced, there's a lot of casual people that don't play GTA Online because the game's 3 years old. People either don't have the money, they don't want to deal with the grind, they just want to get in and have fun with their friends. And you can't really do that unless you have a lot of money. So one thing that Rockstar could do, this would benefit them because they would get people back to playing the game, it would get people hyped for the game, instead of having it for just Halloween once a year. How about once a month? Maybe a weekend like they do the event weeks, maybe a weekend, Saturday and Sunday. All throughout those 2 days in real life, this purge concept would be happening. So if you didn't like this idea, if you didn't want to participate in this purge idea, then don't get on during those 2 days. And I feel like that's a good trade-off because you have the rest of the month to sell your crates, do CEO stuff, do MC stuff, and whatever else Rockstar decide to add. But during those 2 days, the purge days, that would get a lot of people back into the game, I feel, because they could just have fun. They could get on, blow people up, kill everyone, do whatever without the cops, without having to worry about paying insurance to blow up someone's vehicle. I just think now more than ever, since GTA Online is 3 years old, they could gain a lot from doing these little event weekends. Or maybe, if 2 days is too long, make it just a single day of the month. And like I said at the beginning, since the Halloween DLC is like 2 weeks away, we're not going to get it for the Halloween DLC. And I don't want to say, oh, let's wait till the Halloween DLC next year, because at that time, Red Dead Redemption 2 will be out. So I hope we get this idea, and I hope we get it maybe every month or so. And one thing, because I'm sure maybe there's some people out there who don't like this idea. I'm sure since this would just be basically a glorified event week or event weekend, whatever you want to call it, Rockstar could do different themes. Maybe every other month they do, or maybe, you know what, we could have 2 event weekends a month. You have one purge weekend, and then you can have another one that people think of, which I'm sure somebody out there, at least in the comment section, could come up with another idea of this caliber. Let me know in the comment section what you feel about this DLC or little mini game free mode event concept, whatever you want to call it. I just think it would add some much needed fun to the game, and it would get a decent amount of people back, at least for the day or 2 that it's in, or that it's implemented into the game. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Drop a like I mentioned at the beginning, if you did enjoy and want to see this happen. Subscribe for more awesome GTA and Red Dead Redemption 2 content. See you in the next video. As always, it's your boy Saintsfan. I'm out. Peace.